If you've ever struggled with your Pocket 3 footage getting ruined by your ND filters, you're not alone. Today I show you why I think the NEEWER Variable ND outperforms the K&F Variable ND on the Pocket 3. No sponsorships here at all, just my honest experience. I have used the K&F filters on my recent trips, and while they are okay, I've had some major issues with them, which you see in a second. I will test both filters side by side and compare their quality, performance and image results. One big issue that I have with the K&F filter is that it doesn't have hard stops at the ends. And this means that you can turn the ring further than the valid range, and this creates an ugly X pattern in your image. That happened to me when I mounted the Pocket 3 on a road bike on a bumpy road. I started filming like this, and a few minutes later I got this. Well, how could that happen? Well, the ring can be turned with almost no force. So the vibrations on the bike were enough to turn the ring out of the valid range and create this pattern. As you can see, I use a lens cleaning cloth that's soft as hell. Even with that, I can turn the ring of the K&F filter. No chance that you can do this with the NEEWER filter. In fact, you need one finger, or even better, 2 fingers to turn it. It has much more of a high-end feeling and you cannot turn the ring accidentally. Another frustration, the marker of the K&F filter that shows which ND you have chosen is almost invisible. I mean, this is what K&F has on its website. You don't even see it well on the marketing photos. So I used a permanent marker to fix this, and yes, I did the worst paint job ever. The NEEWER filter, on the other hand, has clear visible markings with a lot more space between the single values. So let's compare the image quality. Here is a shot without any filter on the Pocket 3. Now with the NEEWER filter, add 1 stop of ND, 2, 3 stops, 4 stops and 5 stops. Looks quite good. Let's put the K&F filter on. And what you hear here is the dog of our neighbor. Here is 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops, 4 and 5 stops. I bought a bundle of 2 NEEWER ND filters because if you want to film in bright sunlight, ND5 is not enough, especially if you want to film in 24 frames per second and a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second. The result, even with ND5, will be too bright. So I made the exact same test with the 6 to 9 stop ND filters and got a quite similar result. They are just as good as the 1 to 5 stop filters. Unfortunately, I cannot provide results for the 6 to 9 stop K&F filter because it fell off the lens on a bumpy road in Mallorca. While I didn't notice any real problems during all these shots, I found that the sky changes quite a lot with the K&F filter. That's because ND filters in general contain 2 polarizers that are rotated against each other to block the light at different stops. So it's normal that a polarizer effect occurs in the sky, but it should be as minimal as possible. So let's see what happens in the sky on the different stops. You can clearly see the sky in the waveform, and the orange heap in the middle is my face. That's the image with 1 stop. Now we switch to 2 stops, 3 stops, 4 stops and 5 stops. And here you can see that the levels change a bit. The sky is not an even line anymore, it's raised a bit in the edges and the face exposure dropped a bit. Let's have a look at the 4 stops image and switch back to 5 stops again. If we have a look at the lines, you see that the exposure of the face drops about 7%. Let's continue with the K&F filter. At 1 stop we already see that there is some vignetting going on. The edges of the sky are already darker than the same sky in the middle of the image. That was not the case on the NEEWER filter, there it was an almost even line. At 2 stops, the edge of the image drops from 60% down to 48%. At 3 stops it drops by another 6%, so in total 18%. Only minor changes at 4 stops and 2 further percent of drop on 5 stops. So in total 20% drop in the edge. The next test is very important, sharpness. I borrowed this fancy test sheet from B&H, thank you, and we zoom in a bit. That's with no filter applied. Then the NEEWER filter at 1 stop and at 5 stops. Well, I would say this is just as sharp as without the filter. But let's move up a bit to the edge. Here is without the filter, again with 1 stop and with 5 stops. And again, very sharp all the way through. Now we have a look at the center again with no filter and we put the K&F filter on with 1 stop and with 5 stops. Well, I would say no problems, it's just as sharp. Then move up to the corner and again, without filter, 1 stop, 5 stops. No problems whatsoever. I tested color shift as well, which means do the colors change if you put the filter on the lens. Without any filter and with the K&F. And yes, the colors change a bit, but not really drastically. Same test with the NEEWER, no filter, and with the NEEWER filter. Again, colors change a bit, but less than on the K&F. So what's the result of all of this? Well, the NEEWER filters outshine the K&F filters in every single category. Build quality, usability, image quality, and consistency in the results. So if you're looking for an ND filter for the Pocket 3, I can really recommend these. I've put a link in the description so you can find them. And if this video was helpful for you in any way, maybe drop me a like or even subscribe to my channel, and we see each other in the next one.